my first film with Irrfan Khan, whom I adored, admired for a very, very long time because I played a lot of cricket with him. I was an actor even before Raazi. But for some strange reason, something changed. I cried. And not once. I cried 7 times. She came back, she saw it and she hugged me and she said, "Sir, what have you done?" The stories of Meghna Gulzar, Talvar, sleeping at 7 o'clock in the morning. I get a call from the casting person and he says, "Sir," I said, "It is 7 o'clock in the morning. Sir, can you come by 9? I said, "Where?" "So and so place." So, to come and meet Meghna Gulzar. I said, "Oh, surely, of course I will." I'd heard about Meghna Gulzar. I hadn't seen any of her work. But I reached there and she saw me and she said, "Okay. Can you take his measurements, please?" I said, "Straight away? I mean, there's no dialogue of any kind, no, nothing." They took my measurements, they put on the coat, this, that and the other and said, "Fantastic. You look great, superb. So you're on the film." I said, yeah. Then, I mean, as an actor, I wanted to know what the role was, what the character was, when, what, where, all that happened. But yes, that was how my first film with Irrfan Khan, whom I adored, admired for a very, very long time because I played a lot of cricket with him at the Indian Airlines ground. We used to have our own teams. He had another team. But we used to meet in the morning at 7 o'clock. Very diligently he used to come. I used to also be there, play cricket. And that was fun, games, nice. I did 2 ads with him. Again, of course, great person to work with. What an actor. I mean, gone too soon. But a great actor, great performer. To work with him in a full-length feature film was, well, the icing on the cake, again, I would say. There was Soham Shah also in the film. And the character that I got was, of course, of, kind of a grey shade, if I can call it. But working with Meghna ji was a great experience. Once the film was over, I told her before the film got over, I said, "Meghna ji, I need to be in your next film." So she said, "Yeah, of course. I mean, if there's a role, I will definitely call you." So I kept pestering her. Every second day, every third day, I would send her a message saying that, "Meghna ji, good morning. Can I know when I'm doing your next film?" So I think one day she probably got a little cheesed off and she said, "Shishir sir, when there is a role for you, I will definitely get in touch with you." I said, "Okay." I stopped. There was no messaging after that. One day I got up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon from my sleep and I see a missed call on my phone. Meghna Gulzar. I called my wife and I said, "Pinch me now." So she pinched me. I said, "Ouch!" Slowly, huh? And then I said, "Meghna Gulzar called. Call her back." I said, "Okay, I'll call her." I called her. She said, "Shishir sir, you wanted a role in my next film, right? I have a role for you. I'm on a recce now, but you go to Jogi Sab and he will tell you what the story is and what the character is." I couldn't believe my ears. I said, "What? I've got a role in your next film?" She said, "Yeah." So I said, "Okay." I called up Jogi ji and I went and met him in Andheri. And he said, "हाँ शिशिर साहब कैसे हैं आप, ये वो वगैरह वगैरह इधर उधर की बातें हुई." I said, "वो छोड़िए जोगी साहब, please tell me what the film is all about." So he explained the entire film, the character, this, that and the other. There were 2 gentlemen of my age in the film. One was the father-in-law and one was the father, Alia's father, which was ultimately played by Rajit. So कहानी सुनी, कुछ ऐसे सीन्स थे जिन्होंने जो जोगी जी ने कहा कि सिर्फ मेघना जी ही आपको समझाएंगी वो सीन्स, क्योंकि मैं नहीं समझा पाऊंगा वो सीन्स। मैंने कहा चलो ठीक। मैं घर चला गया। घर आने के बाद मैंने सोचा यार उन्होंने मुझे कुछ बताया तो नहीं कौन सा रोल कर रहा हूँ मैं, ऐसे कैसे हो सकता है। मैंने फ़ोन किया उनको, उन्होंने कहा कि हाँ बोलिए जोगी जी, आपने मुझे बताया नहीं कौन सा रोल करना मैं कौन सा रोल करूँगा। तो उन्होंने मुझसे पूछा कि तुम कौन सा रोल करना चाहते हो। मैंने सोच समझ कर कहा कि मैं फादर इन लॉ का रोल करना चाह रहा हूँ, ब्रिगेडियर सैयद का। अच्छा क्यों? मैं उसमें लेयर्स हैं, ट्राइंग टू बी द एक्टर, लेयर्स हैं, ये है वो है। अच्छा चलो ठीक, मैं आपको 5 मिनट के बाद फ़ोन करता हूँ। तो 5 मिनट के बाद फ़ोन आया, अच्छा ठीक है तुम वो रोल कर लो। मैंने कहा है ऐसे कैसे हो सकता है? जैसे शिशिर पहले से ही डिसाइड किया गया था कि तुम वो रोल करने वाले हो। अच्छा तो आप ऐसे ही मतलब मजाक कर रहे थे मेरे साथ हैं? तो खैर वो फिर मैं फिर मेघना जी के साथ बातचीत हुई, बैठे, मेरी मूँछों के बारे में उन्होंने पूछा, स्मोकिंग के बारे में पूछा। मैंने स्मोकिंग छोड़ दी थी 2007 में, मैंने स्मोकिंग छोड़ दी 12 अप्रैल 2007, मुझे डेट भी याद है क्योंकि 11 अप्रैल को मैंने और मनोज ने बैठ के बहुत सारी दारू पी, बहुत सारी सिगरेट पी, और दूसरे दिन मुझे ऐसा कुछ अजीब सा लग रहा था। तो मैंने सोचा लोग चाय के बाद सिगरेट पीते हैं, मुझे चाय के बाद सिगरेट की ज़रूरत ही नहीं पड़ी। मैंने पैकेट लिया, अंधेरी में रहते थे, पैकेट बाहर फेंक दिया। उसके बाद मैंने आज तक सिगरेट को हाथ नहीं लगाया। बहुत सारे लोग आसपास स्मोक करते हैं, अभी नहीं पहले भी स्मोक किया करते थे। जब मैंने सिगरेट छोड़ी 12 अप्रैल को, तो 13 अप्रैल को हमारे विनोद रंगनाथ की बेटी का जन्मदिन था, तो वो मना रहे थे क्लासिक क्लब में। तो मेरी वाइफ ने कहा कि यू गोइंग देयर, जस्ट सी वेदर यू कैन सस्टेन नॉट स्मोकिंग। आई सेड इफ आई डू ओके फाइन, इफ आई डोंट आई डोंट, दैट्स इट। लेकिन मुझे ऐसा लगा नहीं कि मुझे स्मोकिंग करने की ज़रूरत पड़ी, मैंने नहीं की। आई लेफ्ट इट and I have left it till now. So when Raazi came up, Meghna ji asked me, Shishir sir, do you still smoke? I said, well, Meghna ji, if you want me to smoke a pipe, I don't mind smoking a pipe, because smoking a pipe is not like smoking a cigarette. वो एक बार पाइप बुझ जाता है, फिर उसको फिर वो करो, फिर उसमें थोड़ी सी तकलीफ होती है, क्योंकि वहाँ से जाओ, वो लेके आओ उसको, टबैको को। मैंने कहा नहीं, अगर आप चाहती हैं तो मैं कर सकता हूँ, मुझे कोई ऐसी दिक्कत नहीं है। She said, no, let's leave it. Let's not keep the pipe. I said, okay. और जब मैंने फिल्म देखी तो मुझे कहीं भी ऐसा नहीं लगा कि ये शख्स पाइप कहीं भी किसी भी सीन में स्मोक करता हुआ अगर दिखाई दिया तो ठीक नहीं लगेगा। तो मैंने मेघना जी से कहा कि देखा, I mean, I think you've taken the right decision of not letting me smoke. She said, yes, I think so, because it was not necessary at all in the film. एक कुछ 2-3 एनेक्डोट्स हैं राजी के बारे में जो मैं आपसे कहना चाहूँगा। जब सब कुछ तय हो गया कि मैं ये रोल कर रहा हूँ, बाकी आलिया कर रही है, विकी कर रहा है, वगैरह वगैरह, जो भी कैरेक्टर्स थे, पूरी एक कास्ट जुड़ गई थी और हम लोग रिहर्सल किया करते थे, क्योंकि उसमें उर्दू काफ़ी थी और क्योंकि मेघना गुलजार साहब की बेटी हैं, तो उर्दू का इस्तेमाल करना, शब्द सही तरीके से बोलना, वो बहुत ज़रूरी था उनके लिए। सो वी यूज्ड टू डू अ लॉट ऑफ रिहर्सल्स, मी एंड विकी, मी एंड रजित, बाकी एक्टरों के साथ, और फिर एक कंप्लीट टेबल रीडिंग हुआ करती थी सारे एक्टरों के साथ। तो वो टेबल रीड हुई, सब कुछ हुआ, मिले, हम अच्छे से मिले, क्योंकि मैं किसी को नहीं जानता था, सिर्फ रजत कपूर को जानता था। मैं ना विकी को जानता था, ना आलिया को जानता था, अश्वथ भट्ट, किसी को भी नहीं जानता था, अमृता खानविलकर। हम लोग सेट पे जब पहुँचे पहले दिन, और सेट लगा हुआ था मीरा रोड में, घर का जो सेट था वो मीरा रोड में लगा हुआ था, और इतना खूबसूरत सेट था वो। एक्चुअली सेट नहीं लग रहा था। एज सुन एज यू एंटर द सेट इट फेल्ट लाइक अ होम, बिकॉज इट सो ब्यूटिफुली डन, complete perfectionist kind of a situation, very professional. Meghna ji was extremely careful with the little nitty-gritties of, placement of vases, placement of mats, टेबल पे पेन किस तरह से होना चाहिए, कहाँ होना चाहिए, all that was very, very beautiful. And Jay Patel, who was the cameraman, was absolutely brilliant. It was so beautifully shot. तो ऑफ कोर्स विकी के साथ एक अच्छी सी बॉन्डिंग हो गई थी, आलिया के साथ अच्छी सी बॉन्डिंग हो गई थी. एक हम सीन कर रहे थे जहाँ मैं घर से बाहर निकलता हूँ और विकी और अश्वथ को कहता हूँ चलो हमको ऑफिस जाना है तुरंत, ऐसा ऐसा कुछ गड़बड़ हो गया. मेरे मुंह से वो शब्द ही नहीं निकले, फंबल करता रहा, लोग हंसते रहे. फिर विकी मुझे साइड में ले गया, सर ज़रा धीरे बोलिए ना, आप बहुत फास्ट बोल रहे हैं, इसीलिए वो फंबल हो रहा है आपसे. और वो एक बार एक्टर के लाइफ में वो एक या रोल में या सीन में लूप हो जाता है तो वही मिस्टेक दोबारा दोहराने लगती है. तो एक ऐसा लूप बैठ गया था, सब लोग हंसने लगे और मैं थोड़ा सा नर्वस हो गया. मैंने कहा यार कमाल हो गया, मेरे से ये शब्द नहीं निकल रहे हैं, ये लाइन ठीक से नहीं बोली जा रही है, मेघना जी भी उधर हंस रही हैं. मैंने कहा नहीं ये गड़बड़ है. मैंने 2 मिनट बाहर गया, वापस अंदर आया, फिर वो लाइन दोहराई, फिर वो लाइन ठीक से आई. तो बाकी सब लोगों ने कहा सॉरी, हम हंसे. आई सेड नो, देयर इज नो प्रॉब्लम इन दैट, बट इट वाज माय मिस्टेक. आई शुड हैव बीन ऑन द बॉल, बीन अ लिटिल मोर कॉशियस, बीइंग फोकस्ड and said the line correctly. The last scene between me and Vicky was probably the highlight of the film as far as I'm concerned. But there was another scene that I did which was where the flag is given to me when my son dies by the senior colleague in the army. And Meghna ji had written in the script that I fall. I said I don't know how to fall, I don't know what will happen, so let's go there and we'll see what can be done and how it should be done. तो जैसे जब मैं ऐसे सीन्स करता हूँ तो मैं एक जगह जाके बैठ जाता हूँ, फिर मुझे कोई डिस्टर्ब नहीं करता है, because I need to get into that. I don't use glycerine when I do scenes of that kind where I have to cry. I don't use glycerine because it's so artificial. You don't get the emotion correct. You don't feel the emotion, so there's really no point in doing those kind of scenes with glycerine. So मैं जाके बैठ गया और मैंने विकी से कहा कि मैं 15 मिनट में आता हूँ and then we'll shoot the scene. He said no problem. I went, I sat there, got everything into my mind, into my head, everything, and I said चलो अब जाना चाहिए. I went and I stood there with complete focus. My blinkers were on. I did not look here, did not look there. I was looking straight. And from the corner of Vicky's eye, he saw that I am absolutely ready for the scene. He called the chief AD and he just did this. The chief AD went and told Meghna ji. Meghna ji said action, very slowly. She said action. And I don't know what happened. I just did not know what happened. I did it. I fell. And that fall was so perfect that we did not have to do another take. Because it takes its toll on the actor when you have to really concentrate and bring certain moments that have happened or transpired in your life to become a reality when you're performing as an actor. Which is what Stanislavski has always said. To bring those special moments of what you have gone through in life and put it in front of the audience to convince them that this is what really happened. That was the moment of my glory, where everybody clapped. Meghna ji came and hugged me. She said, brilliant scene. After that, of course, was the last scene of my scene with Vicky, where I shout and say that how can she actually betray us when we actually, cared for her as my daughter. And that is where the humanness of this particular family came into the picture. The title of the film was actually Sehmat. Sehmat was what Meghna ji, and I thought that was a brilliant name. I really loved that name so much. But unfortunately, she had to change it to Raazi. Raazi and Sehmat mean almost the same. But yes, so Raazi, and then the last scene with Vicky was a high power scene, high strung scene where I had to really concentrate very, very hard. And Vicky had to concentrate even more. That is where I think focus is a great example. Because he just stood there listening to me with absolutely no emotion in his eyes. Although he was married to her, but still he had absolutely no emotion whatsoever. And he said कि जैसे हमारे देश में होता है, उनके देश में भी होता होगा. That sums up Raazi. And I think the USP of the film was not just the performances. I think the way Meghna ji handled the entire script, just like she handled Talvar. Talvar was a more difficult script to handle because it was a true story. And it was a very thin line between, you're treading on such a thin line, you can either fall this way or this way. But she had to, go on that thin rope. And I thought that was absolutely brilliant. So was Raazi. Raazi was a lot more popular film in terms of the box office. Did extremely, extremely well for all of us. And for some strange reason, I was an actor even before Raazi. But for some strange reason, something changed as far as I was concerned. As far as I was concerned as an actor after Raazi. Something really drastically changed. I don't know what happened. Yes, I gave it my 102%. Not only 100, but I gave it all I had as an actor. And I loved it. I loved the dining table scenes. I loved the scenes where, I must tell you a story about a scene that happened when the son dies, and in the Muslim community, you have the lady sitting on one side and the men sitting on one side, right? So Meghna ji said, let's do the men first. She settled everybody in that hall, then called me and Vicky. There was pin drop silence when we entered. If I had to drop a pin, people could hear it. That is the kind of pin drop silence there was. That is the kind of commitment and focus and discipline there was on that set. So we reached, and Meghna ji told both of us that this is how the scene is to be done. You have to cry. I said, okay. Sat down, and I remember Vicky was sitting on my right, the Maulvi was sitting there, and I'm not joking, this is what really happened. The Maulvi took my hand in his hand. I don't know what happened, the energy from his hand onto my hand lifted me to such an extent that tears started flowing. He didn't say a word. He just held my hand and he walked away. So did so many others who were there. Held my hand, walk away. Held my hand, walk away. I said, what is going on? I cried. And not once. I cried 7 times. I had to cry on Vicky's shoulder as well. So we finished that portion. And then Meghna ji said, we'll call the ladies now. As soon as the ladies came, Alia and Amruta Khanvilkar also entered. Meghna ji said, Alia, wait. Go and see what Shishir has done at the monitor. Just see it. She came back, she saw it and she hugged me and she said, "Sir, what have you done?" I said, "I don't know. It just happened. I hope you will do it for us as well." I said, "Yes, of course I will." I did it totally 7 times for the men and for the ladies. And I think what gave me the energy to do that was the kind of discipline there was on the set. The kind of energies that all the actors brought onto the set. Meghna ji, Vicky, Alia, Amruta, Ashwath, everyone. Of course, Ashwath was not there in that scene because he was dead. But those are the kind of energies that lifts an actor to a great extent.